Welcome to Not All Business, a podcast by two former CEOs who went from competitors to friends. I'm Blakely Graham, and my co-host is Heather Cooper, and we're joined by our producer, Clay Carnell, who's probably wondering why he agreed to be on the mic when he could be safely editing our tangents from behind the scenes. Today, we're getting personal. We're talking about our first jobs, the story behind how Heather and I actually met, what inspired us to launch this podcast, and our vision for what we're trying to create with this podcast. Plus,
what are you doing?
Where are you going?
I can't see.
Wait, I'm taking over. Plus, you can be on the show. Yes, you watching this video right now, listening to this podcast, you can be on the show. So stay tuned for later in the episode where we tell you the details of how you can be on the show. Is there anything else to say?
That's it.
It's time to get down to business.
That was horrible, that last part.
It's a little creepy.
Welcome back, listeners, viewers, everyone out there who listens and watches Not All Business. Today on the show, we have something very exciting, which is today's a new format. We're trying something new. Normally, when you tune in, we have I'm starting first and foremost. I'm wearing something a little different. We'll get to that in just a moment. It's not that different, but it's something.
It's a little country.
It's a little country. It's a little
his 90s gear.
I'm a Michigan man.
Yeah.
I've cut down a tree before. I've field dressed a deer.
Never cut down a tree.
He's Paul Bunyan.
Okay. First of all, no hate speech or slander about Paul Bunyan ever. He is a legend.
Why would you think I would do hate speech? Just because of last week's incident. Keep going, Clay. Keep going.
I turned up the knob on accusing you of that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But back to what I was talking about before Blakely rudely interrupted. Today, we're doing something a little different. Normally, when you tune in, we have a guest who comes on. We interview them. But today, we're calling this Casual Friday. Showing up to the podcast, decided to wear something a little casual. This is my flannel Michigan little wear. Let's go around the office real quick. What has everyone decided to wear for Casual Friday today?
Well, I decided to show up to the podcast today representing the D. Detroit Tigers. Yeah. After what you said last week about Eminem, I'm just going to rep the D today. Yeah.
How did that go for you, Blakely, on Instagram?
I had some pushback. It was light pushback on the Insta. It was a little more forceful on the YouTube. But that's okay. I really appreciated some of the comments we got. I got some feedback on maybe what I could listen to. And I've already listened to 3 of the 6 songs this commenter gave me, and it's good. It's a good education.
That's good. Did they use the 5.5-step feedback method at least when they gave it to you?
Tell you, there have been some funny, witty comments, but like a little zingy, but fair point. Like to call him whiny and not self-proclaimed whiny.
And by him, we mean Eminem, Marshall Mathers, Slim Shady.
Yeah. And then some comments were helpful, like educating, like, hey, maybe you want to listen to his repertoire before you make judgments. I thought that was appropriate. Yeah. And then some I'm not even going to respond to. Come on, trolls. Like, do better. Do better. So.
What's Eminem's, Beyonce has the Beehive. What's Eminem's?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's Stans.
Stans?
Yeah, because he talks about Stan in his music.
That was the Suicide one.
That was made about him? No. Or did he start the term? What's the origin?
I don't know exactly, but I think Stan does originate something from Eminem because he writes in his music about I don't know if it's fictional or real. There's a guy who writes in letters to Eminem and Eminem doesn't respond back. And there's like kind of a callous, kind of like parasocial, strange relationship. But that exists, I think, only in the Eminem universe. We're getting away from what everyone's wearing.
All right.
Yes.
So, Blakely, did you answer what you're wearing? Because I don't think you did.
Well, you just got your colors done. Is this what they suggested?
This is on the color palette.
Okay.
I've had my colors done twice by 2 different competing competitors. And I came out as one in one and one is the other, and they're like totally opposite. So my mind's sort of like,
What? How is
what
that
are my
complicated?
colors?
Your face hasn't changed? Does your
I
color,
know.
did your hair
Is it
color change?
not science? Well, one does not use hair color and one does. So maybe that's it. But this one crossed both palettes, and it's been pouring rain since I woke up this morning. So it's my first foray into my fall sweater collection. And
I kind of like the rain.
it's cozy.
I love my friend is here from Seattle. She's like, enough with the rain. I'm like, yeah, but we never get it like this. And it's kind of cozy. Reminds me of home a little bit. Back in Detroit.
I'm from Seattle.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You are. And Baltimore and all of the places. What are you wearing, Clay, on this casual Friday?
Well, I'm wearing my little Michigan man, Carhartt flannel. These are not cheap.
They're not. They're like $75.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to say the price. You can just say they cost money.
Last time I checked.
What I'm saying is, this is my Carhartt. I can get a stain on it. People still respect me. It's kind of almost like if it looks too nice. What did I say? Did I even say this early on the podcast? That I saw this meme that said you can't wear Carhartt and know what KPIs are. Like it's like incompatible, something like that. I see the truth in it, but I have I actually purchased this at the Carhartt store here in Detroit.
Okay. Nice.
I have cut down a tree. I have field dressed a deer before. Well, I helped my uncle. I didn't actually do it myself. I've worked on a farm in Colorado, in Holyoke, Colorado. I've worked on a farm before.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a first job. It's kind of something I did over the summer, but that leads me to what we're going to talk about today. Okay, so on this show, we talk a lot about the workplace, but one thing we haven't talked about yet is first jobs. So I thought it would be fun for us to kick off this episode by talking about, answering the question, what was your first job?
Well, my first job, I was a janitor when I was 14.
Really? Was this like on the books, or was this like your parents owned a nail salon and you're like sweeping up?
Well, if you want to include off the books, I was a babysitter, just like every other kid, right? So I had a full set of families that I babysat for. That was off the books. This was my very first, I got a paycheck and a pay stub. I thought it was so cool. How do you think I got the money for that? You didn't have bank accounts in the 80s. Did you? When you were 14? I don't know. I don't remember that. I think I cashed the check. I think you walked into a bank and cashed it. I think that's what I did. Anyway, first job, I was a janitor for a, what do you call it? A tutoring center. So
really? So they trusted you to mop up, but not to train the kids?
Well, I was about to say I got a promotion.
You did?
Whoa.
Yes. Way to go.
Yes. So, not a promotion, because they just added on, typical company, there's someone competent. Let's just give her more work for the same pay. So,
That started when you were 14?
14. So I emptied the trash bins, cleaned the bathrooms, and then I sat down with the little kids and helped them learn to read.
Yeah. So, wow.
Wait, you cleaned and then helped the kids?
Did you wash your hands first?
Probably. I'm a bit of a germaphobe.
All right. Mine was, there was this place called A&W. Is that still a thing? A&W?
Oh, yeah. I know about A&W. I don't know
That's my favorite.
Oh, really?
Yes, the root beer float, and they would give us the little baby mugs.
I was a carhop. I went out and I took the trays and out to the cars, and and this is true story. My very first car, my very first day, was this sweet old man, and I kid you not, he looked like the Colonel Sanders. White suit, white beard, white Cadillac, white leather interior. It was I kind of was that a dream? No, it actually happened. So I went up. I was so nervous. He was so kind. So I went, got his order, got that placed in, and he got a large, tall root beer float and then fries and a burger or something. And so I was so nervous, but I'm taking your tray and I'm kind of shaking and I'm walking very, very carefully. I didn't wear the roller skates yet because I was, first day, let's start with tennis shoes. So I'm walking slowly. I get it over to this thing. They've got to roll up the window just about 3 or 4 inches so that it clamps onto the hooks. But you have to place the drink in a certain place on the tray, which I would have appreciated some training, did not get it. So went up, tilted the tray.
No.
Float falls in his lap. He went like this, and he like shivered all over his white suit.
Are you kidding me?
Dark brown root beer and a big fluffy ball of white right on the lap, right between the legs.
All the first customers to have in the world.
Yeah. And it was that, and my eyes started welling up with tears, and I said, "I'm so sorry." And he's like, "It's okay, dear. I'd appreciate some napkins." And I was like, "Okay, yep, I'll be right back." And then I went back in, and I was so afraid I was going to get fired. I just said, "You guys, I'm sorry. I'm going to need another root beer full." This guy like totally spilled it on himself. I just blamed him.
You lied?
I lied. And
Genius.
I was just like, but yeah. And so I went back and I gave him the things. And of course I like patted him down really well. Just kidding. I just handed him the napkins.
Okay.
And yeah. And then that was it. And he still left me 50-cent tip, which was really kind. He did not have
High
to do
roller.
that. Yeah. It was a horrible experience. So I kept that job for, about 6 months. And then one day I came in and they said, "We're going to need your visor and your apron." And I was like, okay.
Like a gun in your badge type.
Yeah, but didn't say like you're fired or we're letting you go. Nothing like that. It was just, "We're going to need that stuff back." And I was like, okay. Like, it's like, do I get a different one? And they're like, "No, we just need it back." I was like, okay. And then they never put me on the schedule again. And that was it.
You got fired?
Yes. And ironically, not even for spilling the thing or lying, just fired with no context or just fired. Yeah.
Is that the only time you've been fired?
I don't think you got fired. I think you got iced.
More appropriate term.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah. I was just out. Yeah. So that was it. And I smelled like root beer and hot dogs all the time. It was gross.
Yeah. I had a roommate who worked at Red Robin and I loved her, but she smelled so bad.
Yeah. And you can't wash that smell out.
Is
You
it the
can't. Anybody who
grease?
works at a restaurant, you know. Yeah. It's the grease.
It's the grease.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
And I did that all through high school and college. All like just, that was serving.
You know what I'm curious about these two jobs? And from what I heard, Heather, it sounds like you didn't stop there in the food industry, right? Like you did more food. I have never worked with food, never worked in the food industry. And I have always had office jobs, always. And so I do wonder if there's like correlation to our personality types or where you end up in your career. Because I always just looked at waitresses and like, oh my gosh, that was like the hardest thing ever. I just memorizing, juggling, being nice, like doing all that stuff. It seems so stressful. But I wonder if that's sort of enabled you to be like the kind of leader you were, where you have to like be attentive. You are talking to some of your employees. You are always like attentive. You're a good listener. But in the background, you're juggling like all their orders. Whereas I was a very operational leader, per my operations guide that you made fun of last week.
Which came in handy, by the way. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
it
you're
always
welcome.
does.
Never felt so stupid.
So I'm much more like planning, like strategy, like here's the order, let's get things done. So I don't know. I just wonder if we gravitate to who you
absolutely.
become.
I think it absolutely. Well, here's the deal. You either gravitate toward that type of chaos and culture as a workforce or you shy away from it. And so there's a piece of it where it'd be like, okay, I've entered into this. I hate this. Let me go back to, this operational side. Or you're like, okay, I'm doing okay in this. I can thrive. Now, I will tell you, I cannot stand it when a server tries to memorize my freaking order. I'm not impressed. I'm full of anxiety.
Yes.
You're not going to remember the stuff I want on the side.
No,
you're going to
never.
forget it. And especially when there's like tables of 10 and they would do that. I never tried to be that person. There was this like weird hierarchy thing where they'd be like, yeah, I memorized the whole thing, like with no mistakes. I'm like, it's not even worth one mistake. I write it down and then that way you definitely get it right and you get a better tip. There's other ways to impress the table than memorizing the order. Oh, it drives me nuts.
That makes me like you a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Should we guess what Clay's job was? I still am curious.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Let's see if you can get it right. I had I did like 14-year-old jobs for like neighbors and stuff, like you said, like off the books, but like my real, like first real job
where you got a check.
I got to check.
Chipotle.
Oh, good guess.
Hardware store.
No. Oh, is it the Carhartt? Was that because I'm wearing this? Because it looks right on me. No, my first job was at the Apple store.
That was your
first job? I kind of thought that was a career job you had.
He almost got an Apple tattoo. I talked him out of it.
Okay, it was. I don't have
That
any
would be
tattoos,
so
let's
terrible.
just start there.
Okay.
I still don't have any tattoos.
With like a bite taken out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but here's what's really interesting. You get to work at the Apple store. Guess who has Apple tattoos? Everybody else.
They do not.
Yeah, they do. A lot of the people who work there are like, this is my company, this is my life, and they just totally put it together. And I respect it. I totally respect it. And they were into working at Apple. They loved it. Obviously, Apple retail is different than Apple corporate. I was very impressed with how they ran the show. Getting hired there was also a really interesting experience, especially because I was pretty young. I think I was 20.
Hold on. How
was
did you not
14.
have
Like,
to
what do
work
you mean?
until you
Yes.
were 20? This is the world.
Agreed.
This is the new world, isn't it? Are these
It
kids
is.
not
It's the
having
next
to work
generation. It's
until
going to be
they're
like my kids.
20? What?
Okay.
What?
Are you done?
No.
Are you done?
No, I'm
I made
flabbergasted.
my kids work.
First job at 20?
Okay, so I did already tell you that I did other jobs off the books, okay?
Okay.
Mowing
okay.
lawns, running,
right,
I don't
all
know,
right,
just like
all
doing
right.
random stuff. I was heavily involved in the church growing up, and that was
That's
completely
true.
volunteer. The
Yep.
rule was if you were a musician and you performed, that's where I served at the church. I was a musician.
That's
If you were a professional musician who volunteered at the church, you got paid. If you did not come into volunteering as a professional musician, it was considered no pay. But there were some exceptions for special events. So I had played like retreats. I would play, different events that the church would throw,
But
and I would get paid
I
a
feel
little
like
bit.
that's very
but-
hypocritical of the church because, first of all, being a professional means you get paid for it. So if you're good and you're talented, they're saying you have to have had someone else already pay you before we will pay you, but we can't be the first person to pay you, even though you might be as skilled.
Yeah, I have no comment on that. I think it was their decision how they wanted it to go. I was showing up.
Okay.
I had food at home, and my parents put gas in my car. So
Good food too.
And I got-
Mom's a good cook.
Interesting. I found my gas money in my seat cushions of my car. Sometimes it'd be like 35 cents. And I would go and I would like fill the tank up and like go.
Oh, just like every little and then it'd go
Until I
over,
hit
and you're like,
35.
oh, yeah, I've done that too.
Wait, you didn't go inside and say, "Hey, I want to put 35 cents on pump number 2"?
So they could set it.
You could do it either way. Yeah. So I would pump like 35 cents and go and pay. I guess you could prepay. That's so funny. You could. I didn't. That would have been smarter.
It's kind of fun. It's like a rush though, because I remember doing that, being like, I only have. Well, for me, it was like $10-$20. I'd be like, I would have to get it exactly right. It was a total rush.
It was a rush.
Yeah.
I don't think you do that anymore. You can't even pay cash.
I don't have to go to the gas station anymore because I have a 100% electronic vehicle, and it makes me so happy.
Oh, I thought you were going to say because you got married and have a husband.
My husband
fills up my
pumps the
tank
gas for me. Yeah. Although I do miss the smell of gasoline on my hands because I like the way it smells.
Oh my gosh, I do too. And I
do?
don't. I'm admitting this publicly now, so it's kind of weird. But like,
Yeah.
I like the smell. Let's go around. I like the smell of gasoline, and I like the smell of cigarettes.
Ooh,
I love the smell of cigarettes.
really
Love it.
Does
I
Scott
do, not in
smoke?
hair.
Oh,
I think that's disgusting. But
Okay.
like if someone is walking in front of me and I can kind of smell a Camel Light, it's just like, oh my gosh, why can't these be healthy?
Okay, so that was fun. Talking about first jobs. We've got janitorial staff. If we ever need someone to, could you clean your microphone actually? Heather, don't spill anything, please. and it looks like everything's going well here tech-wise. I think we're all using Apple products at this point.
yes, we are.
Good
Another
tie-in,
plug.
Clay. Good tie-in.
Okay, so we've had some fun. I want to get to the main topic of what we're going to talk about today, which is your story and this podcast and where's it all going. Everyone tunes in at the beginning of the show each week and they hear this podcast is by two rivals who became friends. But there's a story behind that. And it's unfolding right now on the show. So I'd love to hear from the two of you a little bit about that story. How did you meet? What was it like? Obviously the two of you were competing and still do. But we'd love to hear how that story kind of unfolded and where are we going with the show and how can people be part of that? So let's get into it.
Hi, everyone. Blakely here. This episode of Not All Business is brought to you by yours truly, where strategist Cindy Fergard helps growth-minded leaders navigate pivotal moments with confidence. I worked with Cindy when I was CEO of TaskRay, and she's what I call a CEO whisperer. She helped us execute a complete brand pivot, boosted me up as a leader, and set us up to hit aggressive growth targets that led to our successful exit. Whether you've hit a growth plateau or you're evolving your company, maybe you're at a career crossroads, yours truly provides the strategic guidance you need, because what got you here won't always get you where you want to go. So sometimes you need a Cindy to help push you forward. Visit itsyourstruly.com and mention Not All Business for a complimentary strategy consultation. Okay, back to the show.
Do you want to start from when the two of you first heard about the other, how you heard about the other, and maybe what the situation was even before you were on track to meet?
Well, I've never heard of Heather.
Oh, what the? Oh, okay. It's probably true.
I heard of your company.
All right.
So the setup is the two of you have companies that have a competing service or a competing product. Let's start from there.
All right, Heather.
Do you want me to go? Okay.
Yeah, because you actually brought us together. So this is your story to tell.
Well, because I was brave. That's what happened. So
you're absolutely right about that. Kudos. Point.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad we're finally talking about this because I do get questions all the time from people. Like we kind of just jumped in on the podcast and they're putting pieces together. So like we just do an episode where we can understand who you guys are, how you were competing, things like that. So thank you for asking the question, Clay. I was CEO of Cloud Coach, which is a project management solution on Salesforce, blah, blah, blah. Blakely was also CEO of a company called TaskRay, project management on Salesforce. Not as big of a company, not as successful as a company, but nonetheless still a competitor. I'm just kidding.
We could fact check this. I have real issue with that. But
yeah.
Okay.
So no, but it was like we were in the same deals, not 100% of them, but we were in. So
we were in a ton of the same deals. Absolutely.
Yeah. When you say a ton of the same deals, meaning you're competing for the same client?
Competing for the business. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's why Cloud Coach is better than TaskRay, and then TaskRay is here's why TaskRay is better than Cloud Coach. And so
did you have one of those web pages that compared us?
Yeah, we did.
Like publicly. Hidden, you know what I mean?
No, we did. It was like, yeah, we did. We dedicated a whole site to why we were better.
I kind of remember you having one.
We did. And also I definitely signed up under a different name and got like regular marketing emails.
Guilty.
And, to like pretend I was a user.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So these are the things we do.
Whoa, hang on. What was the name that you used? The alias.
Oh my gosh. That's a good question. I don't remember it.
I totally remember because I have no ability to store things in my head. So I have to use my real name, but I used my middle name and my maiden name. So it was like obvious if anyone really thought about it, you could like trace me right back. But
and then, so long story short, I mean, Blakely was known in the Salesforce ecosystem. She started there as one of their first employees, or you were kind of a legend at Salesforce.
Yeah. Not employees, but customers. And I did
customers, partners. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She loves to bring it up and put it in all of our faces all the time. But anyway, it's actually true. So I was a little intimidated, to say the least, but a mutual friend said, you have not met Blakely, because we both had sold the companies, kind of doing our next thing. And so we weren't competing in business anymore, but obviously still knew of each other. So she suggested we go meet for lunch. And I was a little nervous, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it because we were in the same town, half an hour away from each other, Colorado. So
When you sorry to interrupt, when you say a little
okay.
nervous, I mean, hindsight, 2020, it's like there's not really much to be nervous about because you obviously connected, but let's slow down and go into that for a second. What was it like to have Blakely's name brought up and then say you will meet this person?
So Stephanie said, do you know, well, she's like, you know Blakely. And I was like, Graham? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, well, yeah, I know of her. We've been competing for 10 years.
I'm the only Blakely, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. Are there other
Versus Blakely
Blakeleys?
Graham.
Have you ever?
No.
Yeah.
Only in Savannah, Georgia. Anyway, keep going.
That's oddly specific.
And then the worst part was when I would talk about you, I kept saying Blake Lively, Blakely, Blake Lively. It would just like, couldn't get it right. You're welcome. So she said, I think you guys would be fantastic friends. I was like, shut up. She's like, you should, and you guys should meet. She goes, I'm going to set up an intro and I think you should meet. I was like, you know what? Why not? Let's do it. So she did, but I was nervous because it's like, what were we going to talk about? I told my colleagues that we're all still at Cloud Coach that we were doing in this, and they were like, what? Why would you go meet with the ex-CEO of TaskRay?
How I felt. I actually had like a little guilt. Like,
Yeah.
I really didn't like you guys.
Right.
You really made my life hard in many, many ways. So like, what's the purpose? I exited the company. I'm out of the ecosystem.
Right.
Like, why do I need to get dragged back in to meet my competitor? It was an odd thing, but that just shows how—
you accepted the invitation. So why?
Well, I think very highly of the woman who introduced us, very highly. And so I trust her. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I had no idea you lived like right near me. Like, what are the odds of like a San Francisco backed or based business essentially?
Right.
Like we were both in Colorado.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So I was a little nervous, but I did it and we made a date. And
Did
then
the two of you then text each other or reach out, call each other to actually connect?
Email.
Or
we didn't have each other's numbers.
It was email. Yeah, that was like second date kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was like, we'll meet at this place and this time in Boulder for lunch.
Just hope you show up.
Chili's, Applebee's,
It was some
Outback.
fun little bistro in Boulder.
It was like a little
cute little
tapas
place.
joint.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you look at do you go onto LinkedIn and like look at the picture? So when you walk into the restaurant, you're like, oh, I think it could be that person. Do you always do that?
No.
What?
I should have.
No? Like when you're networking, do you not like go look them up and so you don't just stand there like, oh, is it that person?
No, I
Is it that
kind of
person?
do. I don't know why. I feel really stalker vibe to go like stalk their LinkedIn before.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you did? Did you go on my LinkedIn to see what I look like?
I think so, because I knew the second I walked into the restaurant, I'm like, oh yeah, there she is, like right there.
Well, I got there early and I was like, oh, I should go check my teeth because I had just left a breakfast earlier. And then, then I walked back out and you were sitting there and I was like, that must be her. I don't know how I knew it was you. Because I guess I never really did know what you looked like. Yeah, you were sitting outside. You were wearing a cute little sweater.
Oh, yeah, you came in. That's right.
Yes,
that's right.
And I came.
What was I wearing? Did you remember what I was wearing? What was I wearing?
It was like I don't remember exactly, but it was like a cute little sweater, like a cozy little something.
Oh,
it was like a
that feels good.
Blakely vibe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we hugged.
We did.
I don't think we did like a handshake. I think it was like a hug
We went right in.
which is weird. I don't know why we
Fake
did
hug, real hug.
No, it was kind of a real, I mean, it wasn't a lingering hug. It would have been a little weird.
The hug was oddly long, but we both
It was
really
weird when she
enjoyed it. Yeah.
touched my butt a little bit. I was like, this is not what I was
It's
thinking.
a very.
I digress. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. So hugged, sat down. 3 hours later, had laughed, cried, shared all the
3
things.
hours.
3 hours.
And we weren't done. Like there was so much to talk about just from our careers and our perspectives. And I remember leaving and being like, whoa, like that was really unexpected. And I got probably as far as my car, and Heather had sent me a text already because we shared our phone numbers at that point. And she's like, I think we should do a podcast together. Like, who wouldn't love to be a fly on the wall of that conversation? And I'm like, oh, nope. No, thanks. Not interested.
Wait, you said
Well,
you're
part
not
of-
interested in doing a podcast?
I mean, I don't know if I responded that, but that was a feeling I had. To be in the public eye doesn't seem like a fun thing to me. I know I'm here. But the story carried on. We probably went, another week, Heather? We were just kind of chit-chatting.
Yeah, I think what happened
Maybe.
was during that initial conversation, we uncovered so much loneliness and very similar things where had we known and we thought, what if our daughters knew this stuff as they're heading into their career? What if there was a space where people could just ask questions that they're otherwise too embarrassed to say, or they think they should know by now, or they don't want to look bad in front of their boss? Where is this real talk coming from? Because we just had 3 hours of it where it was mixed. It was business stuff. It was personal stuff. It was all of that because there was just someone on the other side who had been through it and was willing to listen. And so that was really where that was born, because neither one of us had that outlet in our lives.
No, I mean, even what if Heather and I had actually met while we were competitors and had become friends? Think about how we actually could have
complimented each other and helped each other. Yep.
And grown both of the businesses. Mind-blowing. That would have been such a great strategy for both of our companies. We actually served overlap, but very different profiles. And so,
and there would be times where we would pass a deal over to you guys. We're like, this is actually a better fit. But if we had gotten together sooner, this is a problem. You guys should call TaskRay. So, but there was a huge missed opportunity there.
Yeah, I agree.
We had looked at you like, oh, she's so in with Salesforce, she's probably getting a special rate. And
I did.
You did. I knew it. I freaking knew it. How much? Really a good discount? See, you have to, if you're on the Salesforce platform, you have to give a percentage back to Salesforce for the thing. And I knew it. I knew you got a better rate than we did.
You know what, Heather? I'll end that little story in that it eventually made more sense to pay them a money. We did. We had a great deal. But you pay to play. And when we really started getting attention is when we actually started sharing money.
Okay.
Sharing. That's not good. When we wrote the tax check.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sure you enjoyed about 5 years of free marketing with that extra money you saved. Yeah. Well,
earned it.
So it was, anyway, bottom line is we missed out on an opportunity by not looking each other as, hey, here's another female leader in tech. What if we teamed up with each other and actually saw where the crossover was, or where the cross-sell, or how could we have done that instead of just pitting one against each other? And so we're like, if we can help somebody else do that and learn and explore those ideas, let's do it. And so
actually, what sealed the deal, and I won't get into the details of it all, is that Heather was texting me. This is, I think, a week later, you were texting me and you're like, do you mind if I share, Heather?
Oh, no, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Open kimono.
She goes, I'm sitting here. I don't know. I'm getting my pap smear today.
No, okay. I was on my way. I wasn't sitting there. I'm like, my legs are spread. They're keep telling me to inch down a little bit more, a little bit more.
And you're texting during this?
No, I'm saying I'm not. I wasn't texting during the pap smear. I was on my way.
But she's like, I really think we should do this podcast. I really think we should, use our voices to kind of lift up the next generation. And she gave me a hard sell. But what sold it for me is where she was, because I was receiving this text from as I was getting ready for a mammogram. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I swear Heather just felt like a doppelganger. Just, live in Colorado, same age, similar kids,
a little bit
both
older,
CEOs. But boy, girl, same, all that. What else more? I mean, it was just a sign. I felt like that really sealed the deal for me. So I was like,
it did. Well, because those tests are only once a year, every couple of years, Clay. So it is pretty interesting that happened on the same day.
Let me write that down.
Yeah. Yeah. You have a wife. You could be supportive to her for that.
I know about this stuff. This is the thing that this comes up with almost every guest, listeners and viewers. Before we start the show, this comes up. It's come up 3 or 4 times already. And we're on episode 5. So that's basically every episode. I know about this stuff. I know what a pap
girl
smear
stuff?
is. Yeah, I know about girl stuff. I grew up with 3 sisters. Mm-hmm. obviously you just find out about stuff. You go out into the world, you start talking with people. They tell you stuff.
Everyone's talking about pap smears all the time.
Yeah, you go on the internet, you just learn stuff.
I hope my kids don't do that.
Oh my gosh, they are doing it. I'm sorry. Is this a revelation? I'm sorry to deliver you this news. The internet is teaching children tons of stuff. Anyway, I digress. We can talk about that in another episode. This really brings up an interesting point, Heather, where you said you kind of texted Blakely about wanting to start the show and creating a new kind of space for lifting up the next generation. What role does this podcast play in that desire to create a new space? Is the podcast the new space?
Well, I think it takes two women who have had some degree of success, who are not in a position anymore to be influenced by the ramifications of speaking out and being honest and having honest conversations. So I think that's tough. And I think it's tough for our guests too. I mean, we are really trying to create a space where we're just going to say exactly what happened. And we're going to talk about some really hard moments. We call them sticky situations in a very real way instead of the polished, what do we call it? Like, you have to drop your ego at the door with this show, as Blakely learned last week, because she's getting terrorized by Eminem fans all over the world. But you really do, because if I am going to sanitize everything I say because I'm worried about what my next employer would think or kind of what's out there, I'm going to be trapped. I'm going to be handcuffed to be able to share. And women have it really tough. There's a very low tolerance for these types of mistakes by women in business of speaking their mind or complaining or that being difficult. That is completely unfair in the corporate world and probably everywhere. But that makes women afraid to stand up and put themselves out there and say it. So I think to have a partner in Blakely where we're going to just do this. And you know what? We don't have a ton to lose at this point, and we have a lot to offer. Because if we give up what people think, I guess I've kind of given up now what people think.
Yeah. I mean, I think some of it is shared in terms of like shared across everyone in corporate world, men, women, anyone. And like just the shared part for me is like the extreme loneliness of being a CEO, the extreme loneliness of being a leader. And so there's kind of that high level is a very, it's a hard thing, right, to carry and not have a community around it. But then there's this other piece where on like the female side, I feel like sometimes there's a code in business that I don't have access to. And there were situations, and we can call them sticky situations. And to me, like the stickiest are like when, you know, someone's propositioning you at the booth at the conference, right? Like those kind of sticky situations. But there were also situations I found myself in where I had to talk to investors, and I had never talked to investors before. I didn't know how to talk to investors. And anyone who has talked to investors knows your first call is always with these junior analysts. Ugh. And they are always two men side by side. They have these Patagonia vests on with their blue collar shirts underneath it. And they're
I know those guys.
I
know those
22
guys.
years old.
They have all the same questions.
Their whole job is to intimidate you and kind of put you in like this, not in the power position, right? And they'll say stuff like, we've got all this dry powder. And I'm like, what the fuck? You're like, I'm not doing
cocaine. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
A ski slope? Or is it coke? Like, I had no clue what that term meant. I had no one to ask. Do you know what I mean? I had no one to ask, or I felt comfortable asking, because to ask as the CEO, a female who didn't speak the bro code, it would just be admitting something, right? It'd be admitting I didn't know, I wasn't educated, I didn't have an experience, and it was just embarrassing. And so for me, I feel like it's applicable to anyone in terms of like that loneliness and having a community. But for people that are scared to ask some of those questions, it's just hoping that a listener feels seen and be like, oh my gosh, that totally happened to me. I'm not stupid. I'm not dumb. I just don't know. And I don't know who to ask. And so
That's why we don't allow any acronyms on the show.
yes,
Yeah,
that's right.
we're always, because we need to make sure that we're on the same page and we're tracking. I mean, we've all been in those conversations where I feel like I'm in control of it. And then all of a sudden it goes a little bit different way. I've missed a couple gaps. I'm not in a situation to like Google on the side to catch up. And so you're just nodding ahead and acting. And then they turn it around on you to ask a question. And then it's like, what am I doing in that moment? Am I saying, actually, can you please restate that? I'd love to hear it from this perspective. That's the best thing to do. Or do I kind of fudge my way through it and try to make it sound, and then they can see through it in an instant? Like those types of moments are what I'm talking about when I say men get away with that 95% of the time and women about 50%. Because when a woman starts standing up and she starts making sense and she's delivering a point, she's delivering a plan, a 30, 60, 90, and it's really tracking. You can see the faces in the room kind of light up, and it's more an inquisitive look like, who is she again? This is actually making sense. Like, where did she study? Google, like, why does this sound smart? Versus a man up there doing the same exact presentation, people are just nodding along. They're just tracking. They're like, yep, okay, makes sense. Yeah, this guy's great, isn't he? Like, it's really good. We have to go through this intangible, unspoken hurdle of like earning the respect from the get-go. And I don't know when that ends. I don't know at what level we just start to get that same level of trust and respect. But I would guess it's quite high still.
I don't know. I remember.
But it pisses me off. That pisses me off.
Yeah.
You should. I had a male, and this probably, it was true for you too, Heather, because you were in a similar situation. You had a male co-founder of your company. I had a male co-founder, my business partner, who I adore. And this was not on him, right? Like we would show up at the same events and everyone would be talking to him. Like it just couldn't turn their head to me. Or I remember one time I went up to a booth, saw an old friend, and he said something about, Eric as, your CEO. And I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, I'm the CEO. It just, the assumption is always there. And it's infuriating. It's absolutely infuriating not to be looked at, to be placated, or the worst is to be looked at because they want to be sensitive. So they're looking right at me going, okay, she's a female. I'm going to look at her. But when it's time to ask a question.
Yes.
Turn and ask the guy.
That happened to me post-acquisition, and we had to go overseas, and we were meeting with all these different portfolio companies. And I had a colleague with me who was an executive high up in the company, and we'd sit down at the table, nice trees, all the tea, coffee, whatever. We sit down once we're actually getting through things. They ask some questions, and then always eye contact with the male colleague. And then the male colleague kept deferring. I mean, he'd stay in his lane for the things that he knew, and then other things he'd be like, well, actually, Heather, as CEO, would be a better person to ask that. And so then they would look at me and then listen and then go right back to him for the rest of the conversation.
All the time.
It was like they were incapable of just continuing the conversation, almost like they weren't fully believing it. And so, and I will tell you, these gentlemen were lovely. It wasn't like they were just huge assholes. It's the conditioning. It was almost it wasn't intentional. It was just what they were accustomed to. And it was the way they did business. And that's overseas. That's here in America. I mean, it's everywhere, but there is a substantive conditioning that we have, male and female, and everything in between, is growing up about what business looks like and what business leadership looks like and what hierarchy looks like. And until there is like true representation at the levels across PE firms, which ultimately hold the power, because every business ultimately wants to get a huge investment or bought or go public.
I don't.
Which is all tied. Yeah, well, good, because you didn't
Bootstrap
go public.
all the way. Sustainable, profitable.
I agree. Bootstrapping
all the way.
is so good. That's a whole nother episode.
What does bootstrapping mean?
funding
do
it
not
yourself.
take on any investment. So we were profitable from basically day one. And we only grew as much as we could in the bank, right? It's like a balanced budget.
Which she got to do because she got free stuff from Salesforce. But it
I
helped.
earned
Don't
that.
deny. Well, you earned it from your relationships. It is hard to do though. Bootstrap, not like dirty relationships.
Relationships, the name of the game.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Well, then
Yeah.
you
And you're
have
still getting to know each other. See, you're getting to know each other on the show in real time. That's the magic.
true. It is part of my frustration. You can tell based on my reaction, I get a little riled up when we talk about what happened to you at these conferences, what happened to me in these meetings. And I want to be clear that I'm not trying to come from like male, female situation. This is just the reality of what I have faced, what you have faced, and what we know hundreds of other women are facing. And I'm sure that there are some men facing it for other, in other similar situations, but no one feels free to talk about it because we all have to act like we've got it together on the outside, that we can play ball, that I can be one of the boys or whatever's required me in a situation so that I do not lose clout. And so here at this podcast, I can lose clout. It's okay. I don't have to hold it together. I have a face that is just, some days I have makeup, some days I wash my hair, some days I don't. I just show up how I am that day and it's real. And so that's what I want to hear from listeners. And Blakely, you just were talking about a great idea of, encouraging questions to come through. Tell me more what you're thinking.
Yeah. I mean, we have lined up an incredible guest list. Like for a brand new podcast, I cannot believe the caliber and experience of women that have come on and are about to come on. And with very specific expertise, by the way, we do need to have a man guest next season. That's what I think.
Yes.
However,
You know how you get men to come onto your podcast is by calling them a man guest. That's how you get them.
Who's going to be our first man
Did
guest?
someone say man guest? Yeah. Also, there's. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I want to just make sure, though, like I have loved these conversations. We're going to have more of these conversations, but I just want to make sure we are addressing those very real sticky situations that cross female and men. And sometimes those situations are different for female and men. Like I think about like the very first time I had to fire someone, I was firing someone from a very nurturing perspective. And so I just wanted to mother them. And it was actually all the wrong thing to do. That's not how I can have humanity, but I should not be mothering someone I'm firing, right? Yeah. I'm sure the first time a man has to fire someone, they go through some similar amount of anxiety. It's just a very different perspective. So I guess the idea or the thought that I was having is like, hey, we're going to have these guests. They're going to have great experiences and great stories, and we're going to learn so much. But also, let's have our listeners send us their situations that they're too afraid to ask somewhere. Yeah. I don't know that we're going to have the answers, but we can certainly talk about it and maybe even like pull in some of these experts to kind of help us work through them. And so I would just invite everyone to send us your sticky situations, no matter what they are. You can do that anonymously on our website, which is not all.biz.
Not all dat biz.
Not all.
That's how I like to say it.
But it's not dat. It's a dot. Not all dot biz.
But I like to say dat biz.
So send us your questions, and we will answer every single one.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yeah, we have a couple ways to do it. One is you could actually record a voice message. We have a voicemail inbox where you could record yourself saying the sticky situation.
Oh, so clever, Clay.
We do have that. It's 2025. You got to have stuff like that. The other thing is we also do have an email address, podcast@notall.biz. You can send it there. You can type it in if that's what you want to do. You can also just leave a comment on this video or on Spotify.
Yeah.
Send them in. Yeah. We're excited to get to them. Okay, so that is fun. So that's all I had written down for what we were going to talk about today. Your meet cute, your first job. We have a tradition on the show for us to wrap every episode. We go around and say, what's one thing that made you smile this week? So I'd like to hear from the two of you, and then I'll go too. What is one thing that made you smile this week? What brought a smile? Oh, the way you word it is so fun. What brought a smile to your face? That's what Heather says. I like that.
That's what I say. I like to hear you say it though too. What brought a smile to my face? Obviously the Lions winning, but that's probably going to be yours.
Woo!
Woo! Go Lions.
Go Lions. One pride.
Yeah. So my college roommate is in town visiting. So that is so fun. And then a couple more girls are coming out this weekend. So we don't realize how old we've become. And I live in a college town, so I'm a little nervous about what this weekend looks like. But when we all get together, we just feel like we're 20 years old again. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be some good smile stories for next week.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what put a smile to my face is I was making some tea right before the show, and I literally drink this tea every single day, and I never noticed that they write messages on the little string.
You never noticed that? I love reading those. It's like a fortune cookie kind of thing.
Do all tea companies do this?
No, not all, but the good ones do. You must have got a bougie one.
Oh, can I one-up you? Wait, can I? Oh, something just came to me. I got to one-up you.
Yeah.
What?
I don't buy tea that has those tags on it because I learned how destructive they are to the environment.
Oh my gosh, that was your last podcast. Okay, there's no outrage or optimism.
If you want to talk about recycling, I'll go down. Talk about recycling.
The world is gonna burn up, Clay. Okay, we've accepted it, and we're just I'm drinking as many Coke cans as I can. No, don't say that.
I'm drinking as many Coke cans. You mean aluminum?
I don't even drink Coke. I don't know why I said that.
The number one recyclable material that we have on Earth.
Okay, here's the deal though. I do recycle. I have a recycling bin. It doesn't always make it. It just depends because here's the deal. It just goes down to the landfill down the street. It's not. We're landlocked. There's no ocean nearby. So.
You guys.
Okay. Well.
Real quick before we leave.
Okay.
I interviewed, this is about companies and messy situations. I interviewed at a renewable energy company, and one of their questions on the interview was like, well, what do you care most about the environment?
And you're like, I don't care.
I go,
you don't care.
I recycle.
You don't.
And I don't even do that anymore because I'm so pissed about the recycling industry.
Well, it's because we're landlocked. Oh, Clay might quit again. We might have an empty chair again.
Oh, I've got facts on that industry. Anyway, you guys are ruining my tag because here's what my tag says: be kind to others. And I'm like, F that right now.
Except the earth.
Be kind to others.
No, it says be kind to others, but always be compassionate to yourself. And I never remember the second part. And last week I wasn't very kind to Eminem. And I just feel like
you're only saying that because you got trolled and shamed.
I did.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think those little nuggets, they're helpful. Keep you in the moment. Put a smile on my face.
That's nice.
I agree. And I will tell you, Eminem doesn't give a flying about what
but his stands do.
He would love it. Mm-hmm. He loves adversity.
He is a grandpa now. He became a grandfather.
Really?
Yeah. And
Baby mama drama.
I will be very interested to see how that changes his public persona. But yeah, my smile this week was the Detroit Lions absolutely destroyed the Baltimore Ravens. Sorry, Blakely, I know that you're from Baltimore.
It's all good. Well, Ravens weren't there when I was there, so it's fine.
Did you know that the Ravens, they're named the Ravens after the Edgar Allan Poe, the Raven? I thought that fact was going to be way more interesting to the two of you, but apparently we've never talked about American literature or anything like that. So anyway,
let's keep it that way.
Okay, so the Detroit Lions. I mean, every analyst before the game said that the Baltimore Ravens were going to win, and the Lions just stepped in there and said, "We are not here to prove anything to anyone else. We are only here to prove it to ourselves that we can do this." And that's how they play. They play very physical, fundamental, the hardest the people who practice and play the hardest, they make the team. that is how they run their franchise now. And it is electric to watch. So I'm jumping up and down in my house. I have a 90-year-old house. So it's, the whole thing shakes a little bit when you jump up and down. So I'm like waking up everybody in the house because 8:15 p.m. games, it's late. I'm watching the final quarter at like 11:30. And if there's any injuries, you're not going to bed until tomorrow. So anyway, it was so much fun. Brought a smile to my face. Ray actually came down and watched a little bit of the game with me. And I said, before when she sat down, I said, hey, just so you know, it's going to be just the stress is not going to end. It's just going to get worse. So, and she's like, that's okay. So it was really nice. We had a nice time. I had a nice time being stressed out.
Well, I was appreciating your text updates. That was helping me.
Yeah.
Get through
So
it.
Blakely, I exclude you from the Detroit Lions text thread.
Play-by-plays.
That's okay.
Fair enough.
Okay.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. So that does it for us this week. Thanks everybody for listening and watching the show. Thanks for tuning in. Do people still tune in? That's what I say. We are going to have an exciting guest on the show next week. So be sure to hit subscribe. Don't miss the episode. Blakely and Heather, thanks for sharing your smiles. Thanks for sharing your story. That was really fun. I'm excited to be part of this journey that the two of you are on. Thanks for bringing me in to produce the show. Anything else you want to say before we go?
Thanks for show running, Clay. That was tip top.
You're hired.
Okay, thanks. It was super weird to do it on a show where it's like, we need to like reevaluate what the gender parity is and re-examine this from a systemic structure. And I'm like,
right.
Okay, cool. Well, let me cut you off and say, let's move on to the next topic. That was super weird. But
yeah, good job, patriarchy.
Next week, I promise I
Thanks,
won't
Clay.
be representing the patriarchy in the show as I point at you like this. I won't be doing this. All right, let's just say goodbye.
All right.
Goodbye. See you next week. Hit subscribe.
Goodbye.
See you next week.
Bye.